Aloha world, good morning. It's Monday morning again. We start over again. Starting all over again. A new week. Today is February 7th. February 8th there in the morning. I hope everyone is well and happy and that this video finds you in good spirits. It is 7 o'clock in the morning and it's a bit chilly. It's 58 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment. I expect it to be sort of warm later in the day. Hopefully we'll reach at around 70, 72. One of the subscribers we have, one of the members of our group, our family, asked, why is it that I did not have children, or why is it that I don't have any well, I don't know how to say it. She's asked why I don't have any children and why is it that I never planned on children when I was younger. So, here we go. I guess we're at question and answers today. So here we go. I left the Philippines just shortly after high school, but growing up, I've seen a lot of hardships, a lot of struggles, and that includes me. It included me. It had been a tough life, although some people may have experienced it worse than I have, because we actually had a very nice house to live in. We had some shelter, so all we really worried about was food from time to time. I mean, there were times my father had a lot of money. He had a lot of constructions all throughout the Philippines. He's traveled all throughout the Philippines, and wait, several people are crossing the street. When he quit his work, that was when hardship began. I actually went through this, and I have a vlog of this called My So-Called Life. My first few vlogs were about my life and how tough it was growing up, and my dreams of helping my parents, and my dreams of someday that my parents won't be struggling anymore, and especially my mom, just so she wouldn't shed a single tear ever because there was nothing to eat. So I saw that growing up. I come from a huge family. There were 9 of us. One passed away, I think 5-6 years ago. But that was one of the reasons why I've taught myself to focus mostly on school, focus mostly at school, get high grades, aim high, and set aside crushes and falling in love. Pero dili dyan na mapungan. Ay, joke. Anyhow, growing up with a bunch of siblings who were always fighting about things, and you know, we were close, but eventually, you know, everyone grew up to be their own person, and everyone grew up to live their own lives and have families. So last few times I came home, I saw everything a lot more different than it was when we were growing up. We were not as close anymore. So anyhow, growing up, I never played with a dog. When I was a little girl, I've managed and learned to speak English very young in the hopes that I would land a good job someday. And my father aided in that. Dili kayo kumawa, and I was never shy because my father taught me self-confidence at a very young age. As for having nothing to eat, I have experienced that again when my father quit working, because there were times we can have anything in the world. When I was growing up, we had toys, we had, you know, like a lot, but I was way too young to remember. But I know from time to time there were people from the bank, and I don't know if it was City Hall, I can't remember, questioning my parents where the money came from, why she was going to deposit like every week. They were just trying to understand, you know, where the construction work was coming from. When my father traveled from Palawan to Mindanao to Bohol, like all over, there were, I think he worked for, or he was a foreman at a construction, and eventually he had his own people and have linked with several developers even in Cebu City. And one of his projects were Gaisano, Rostans, White Gold, you know, kinsa tong mga gore diha parehan ako kay namdaman. Anyway, he quit work. I think he was in his early 40s, and there were a lot of mouths to feed. So that's what I saw, you know, at least within my family. I strive to become the best person I could ever be, and studied hard. Met a lot of good people along the way who mentored me, and like Mr. Ernesto Ruby, Mr. and Mrs. Marcy Goldston. They were my second parents in the Philippines, and then I met Dad, my second father. Just a lot of people who's helped me become wiser at a young age. I've also seen a lot of people in Cebu and all throughout the Philippines who were basically neglected by the society, people who can't defend themselves. That was one reason why I went to law school, because I want to make sure that even though I live in the United States all alone, that no one could ever push me around, that I could speak for myself, even though I'm in a foreign land. I need to be able to stand up and protect myself, defend myself, and defend others, the homeless, people neglected by the society, people who can't defend themselves, people who has nothing to eat, and people who were or are taken advantage of by selfish people. And it really makes me angry when, or disappointed when someone is being taken advantage of and they just let it because they feel if they don't have money, they couldn't do anything about it. And I see it all the time in the Philippines. Parents being taken advantage of their own children. And I thought when I was younger, eventually, that if I have children, and in 20 years, the world is not going to be the same as when I was growing up, where everyone is nice. There were less bad influences when I was growing rapidly changing. And then in 1996, 2 years after I came to California, I landed a job as a kindergarten teacher here in the United States, in California. It was a private school, 80% Korean, about 10% Americans, and some were Chinese. So that was the first time I learned different languages because I need to. I had to teach them English. Anyway, kids here, you can't yell at, even if you're a teacher. You can't discipline them. Most you can do is put them at the corner. So I decided, there's no way in hell I would have children. I did choose to live in the United States permanently, so it was difficult when I was dating because after a month, after a few dates, they propose. And when I tell them I don't want children, and then they're like, but why? You're so good with children. Oh no, I don't want children. I have my own plans and I have my own calling. So it was hard. I dated a few and had 13 marriage proposals. 2 European, mostly Americans, and one was Persian. All successful, lawyers, doctors, CEO. One owned his own company, few owned their own law firm, some made movies, producers here. And I didn't want that kind of life. I don't want to be the person who make kids and stay home, eat ice cream. And I thought, I'm better than that. I mean, not that it's bad, it's just not my calling. And I don't want to be forced into an energy where it's not something I see myself as. Anyway, my point is that in the world there are only two kinds of people. One who wants children and one who don't. There is nothing wrong with it. Do what makes you happy. But I have a message for kids out there. Please treat your parents with respect. Don't take advantage of them because they have been through a whole lot. Some kids, they see their parents suffer, no money, and they've become successful in life, have money, have whatever they want. Don't push your parents down because you have more than them. Help them. Lift them up. Don't, bully them around. Kanisag yung ubang mga asawa? Ay, kasi yung nag-lecture. Some wives are bad. Some wives, mao gyud tigsulsul ba? You need to work together, both families together. Kamusad mga bana, ayaw dayon magtuo kung unsay igagipang sulsul sa mga asawa ba? Palaban-laban, ana. It's bad energy. Unya na lang din nato tiwasan. Pero anyway, to address the question, I feel like I've been bouncing from one topic to the other. To answer your question, I won't name who you are. To answer your question, I've always felt, even at a very young age, that my calling was to help people. And I have been blessed and so lucky to find Chris, to find a person who actually understands that. And I love him for that. I love him for taking care of the animals and for loving animals as much as I do. And thank goodness. I mean, I never felt like I would ever need anyone, and I don't, but it's nice to have someone to talk to and grow with, in life, where you actually have strong foundation to make the relationship work. Hi, katabian ako. It's been 16 minutes. Kamu na sa Istorya World? Bitaw eh. I just got here. Ay, ay, ay. Saan? I always feel bad when I see parents taken advantage of, and children being taken advantage of parents also. I mean, I know our parents are never our responsibility. We've never asked them to, put us into this world. It just happened. Things happen. They're never our responsibility, but if children choose to take care of the parents, that's wonderful. And vice versa. Parents are there to mold us, to feed us, to guide us. But it would be nice to give something in return. Give back. Ala. Anya na lang kung magsigig istorya, okay? Gikapoy ako. Nagyaw-yaw. Akong istorya karon, jumping from one topic to the other. Anyway, Bita World, kamong mga kids diha, pamina mo sa inyong parents, okay? Even though sometimes it really doesn't mean anything, just hear them, okay? Mamugas ako, world. Unya na ta magchika-chika. Akong baon karon ka Baguio beans. Ala ha.